morning and a very warm welcome. I'm Rachel and you're watching Kalkine TV live from Sydney. I'm here to present the show, the Global Markets Roundup. Let us look at the US market updates first. US markets closed mixed as financials, energy stocks advanced. Overnight, strong manufacturing data lifted the tech-weighted Nasdaq to a new high. The Nasdaq Composite rose 0.13% to 14,271.74, while the S&P 500 fell 0.11% to 4,241.83. The Dow Jones shed 0.21%, closing at 33,874.25. The US market is still going through the after effects of the Fed's unexpected projection last week for rate hikes as soon as 2023. We saw this triggering selling in stocks, boosting demand for the US dollar and a flattening of the US bond yield curve. While overnight, flash US manufacturing PMI surged to a record high in June 2021, helping Wall Street shares to cut losses short. However, the data revealed the manufacturers are still struggling to secure qualified workers and raw materials, significantly raising prices for both businesses and consumers. Notably, financials, consumer and energy segments of the S&P 500 remained in positive territory, while the rest of the sector saw broad declines. Utility stocks were the bottom movers. Tech stocks ended the session near flat on the Nasdaq as investors pivoted their attention towards value stocks with a strong rebound of the US economy. Now let us look at some news from the US newsmakers. Shares of lending firms Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac fell more than 30%. That was after the Supreme Court rejected the investors' plea to stop the government's move to transfer a portion of the company's profits to the Treasury Department. Electric vehicle maker Tesla stocks skyrocketed 5.3%, helping the tech-heavy Nasdaq to register gains for third consecutive days. The Ford Motor Company gained 3.6% and Lordstown Motors Corp advanced 9%. Meanwhile, General Motors advanced 1.6%. Nvidia Corp rose marginally by 0.82%, while Intel Corp declined 0.99%. Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company gained 1.65% and ASML Holdings declined 0.77%. Looking at the sectoral charter, energy stocks were among the top gainers. Shares of ExxonMobil gained 0.60% and PetroChina rose 0.89%. In financial stocks, Berkshire Hathaway shed 1.2% and Visa slipped 0.5%. JP Morgan Chase & Co. rose 0.66%. The Bank of America gained 0.63% and MasterCard declined 0.82%. The 10-year benchmark Treasury yields ticked up on Wednesday, one day after the Fed's chairman Jerome Powell reaffirmed in a congressional testimony that the central bank's view of rising inflation will likely be temporary. The 10-year US Treasury yield last traded at 1.4869% on Wednesday. The US dollar index retreated from upper levels after Jerome Powell's statement that rising inflation is likely to be temporary, an assurance of being in no hurry to tighten monetary policy. The dollar index futures closed the session up by 0.04% to 91.785. Now let us zoom our lens on the crypto space. Bitcoin was up around 2.6% on Wednesday, giving back some of the day's gains. The cryptocurrency dropped to as low as $28,600 on Tuesday, its lowest since January 2021. Meanwhile, Ether was trading 4.37% up at 1,964.18. Let us now look at the commodity charters. Crude oil prices again surged to their highest level in more than 2 years. The demand increased after an industry report on US crude inventories reinforced investors' views of a tightening market as travel picks up in North America and Europe. Brent crude futures closed 0.41% up at $75.12 a barrel on Wednesday, while WTI crude futures gained 0.19% to $72.99 per barrel. Meanwhile, gold prices ticked up further from from the 7-week lows it hit late last week, and the demand lifted as the US dollar weakened a day after the Fed said inflation would not be the only determination of interest rate decisions. Spot gold was up 0.4% to $1,785 and 32 cents an ounce. That was at 12:34 p.m. Eastern Daily Time, and the US gold futures were up 0.5% to $1,786.60 per ounce. In the metal space, Chinese coking coal futures closed 5% up on Wednesday, rising for a second consecutive session on supply concerns as safety inspections by Chinese authorities disturbed production at some mines. Coking coal is used to create coal, which is further used as an input for steel production. The most actively traded coking coal futures contract for the September month delivery on the Dalian Commodity Exchange closed at 2,037 yuan per tonne. Meanwhile, on Wednesday, copper prices inched up after data revealed strong factory activity and Powell's assurance to keep interest rates low to boost economic recovery. 3-month copper on the London Metal Exchange has risen by 2% to $9,489 a tonne. Well, that's all from me for now. Please stay tuned with Kalkine TV. We'll be coming back with more stock-related updates, Australian market charter and other trending news for you. I'm Rachel, signing off for now.